A child's cry in a snowstorm. A ruthless man with blood on his hands. And one decision that changes everything. Picture this. The Alaskan wilderness at dusk, where temperatures drop to -20, and the only sounds are wind cutting through pine trees. Logging roads snake through mountains that haven't seen civilization in decades. This is where dangerous men go to disappear. Kong Min chose this place for exactly that reason. He's not here for the scenery. The Korean Mafia boss is hiding from his own people. A violent betrayal within his organization left bodies in Seoul and a target on his back. His lodge sits 15 miles from the nearest town, accessible only by a single road that becomes impassable when storms hit, which is exactly what's happening now. Snow falls in thick curtains as Kong Min drives his black SUV down the mountain. He needs supplies before the road closes completely. His headlights cut through the growing darkness, illuminating nothing but endless white and skeletal trees. Then something red appears in the road. He slams the brakes. The SUV fishtails, tires fighting for grip on ice. A little girl stands in the middle of the logging trail, wearing a red winter coat that's too big for her. She's maybe 6 years old. Tears freeze on her cheeks. Kong Min's first instinct is to drive around her. His world doesn't include children. It includes violence, strategy, survival. Emotion is a weakness that gets men killed. But she doesn't move when his headlights hit her. Her small hands are bare, red from cold. Snow clings to her dark hair. She's shaking, not just from fear, from the kind of cold that steals consciousness. He should keep driving. Instead, he cuts the engine and steps into the storm. "What are you doing out here?" His voice comes out harsher than intended, roughened by years of giving orders that men don't question. The little girl flinches. Fresh tears spill down her face. "Sir, I can't find my mummy." 5 words that crack through every wall Kong Min built over 20 years in the underworld. He crouches down, bringing himself to her eye level. Up close, he sees how blue her lips are, how her entire body trembles. This child isn't just scared. She's approaching hypothermia. "Where did you last see her?" The girl points toward a narrow trail branching off the main road. "Our cabin. Mommy went to get wood for the fire, but she didn't come back and I got scared and I came looking, but now I don't know which way and it's so cold and..." Her words tumble out between sobs that shake her tiny frame. Kong Min makes a decision that defies every survival instinct screaming at him to walk away. He lifts the girl into his arms. She weighs almost nothing. He carries her to the SUV, cranks the heat to maximum, and wraps her in the emergency blanket from his trunk. "What's your name?" "Helen." Her voice is small, muffled against his shoulder. "I'm going to find your mother, Helen. But first, you need to warm up." He holds her close while the heater roars, rubbing warmth back into her frozen hands. This child should mean nothing to him. He's killed men for less than looking at him wrong. Yet something about Helen's terrified eyes reaching up at him in that snowstorm bypasses every defense mechanism he possesses. After 10 minutes, color returns to her cheeks. "Can you show me where your cabin is?" Helen nods and points through the windshield. "That way." Down the little road. Kong Min navigates the SUV onto what barely qualifies as a trail. 2 tire tracks through deep snow, branches scraping both sides of the vehicle. Trees press in close, creating a tunnel of darkness that his headlights struggle to penetrate. Helen sits in the passenger seat now, clutching the blanket. "Mommy said never go outside when it's dark. But she was gone so long." "How long?" "I don't know. I counted to 100. Twice. A child's sense of time, but even accounting for that, too long for someone to be gathering firewood in a storm." The cabin appears suddenly, a small structure barely visible through falling snow. No smoke rises from the chimney. No lights shine in the windows. The place looks abandoned, forgotten by time. Kong Min pulls up as close as he can get. He keeps the engine running, heat blasting, and turns to Helen. "Stay here. Lock the doors after I get out." "But what about Mommy?" "I'll find her." Inside the cabin, his breath fogs in air only slightly warmer than outside. The fireplace is cold, full of ash from a fire that died hours ago. A single kerosene lamp sits on a rough wooden table. The place is clean but sparse, someone living with very little, making it work. No sign of Helen's mother. He calls out. "Hello. Anyone here?" Silence answers. Back in the SUV, Helen's eyes are huge with worry. "She's not there." "No. Where did she go to get wood?" "Behind the cabin. There's a shed. And trees." Kong Min grabs the flashlight from his glove compartment. Helen, I need you to stay in the car no matter what. Promise me. Will you bring Mommy back? I'm going to try. The woods behind the cabin are a maze of shadows and snow. His flashlight beam cuts through darkness, searching. Wind howls between trees, carrying away any sounds that might guide him. This is insane. He should be halfway to the lodge by now, doors locked, bourbon in hand, letting the storm pass. Instead, he's trudging through knee-deep snow looking for a woman he's never met, risking exposure, risking everything. Then his flashlight catches something. A splash of dark blue against white. He runs. Miranda is half buried in a snowdrift 20 yards from a collapsed woodshed. She must have been carrying logs when she fell. They're scattered around her body. One leg is twisted at an angle that makes Kong Min's jaw tighten. He drops to his knees beside her. Hey, can you hear me? No response. He presses 2 fingers against her neck, searching for a pulse. It's there, faint, too slow, barely present. Her lips are blue. Snow has collected in her dark hair, on her closed eyelids. Kong Min has seen death more times than he can count. He knows what it looks like when life is slipping away. Miranda is dying. Not today. He doesn't know why he says it out loud. Maybe to convince himself. Maybe to convince her unconscious mind to hold on. He checks her breathing. Shallow. Irregular. Without thinking, operating on pure instinct, Kong Min begins CPR. His hands lock together over her sternum, pushing with controlled force. 30 compressions. He tilts her head back, breathes air into her lungs. 2 breaths. Repeat. Snow falls on both of them. His knees sink deeper into the drift. His arms burn with effort. Nothing. Come on. 30 more compressions. He's not gentle about it. Can't afford to be. 2 more breaths. Her chest hitches. A cough rattles through her. Weak but there. Miranda's eyes flutter open. Unfocused, confused, but open. Relief floods through Kong Min like nothing he's ever felt. He pulls off his coat and wraps it around her, then strips off his sweater and adds that too. The cold hits him immediately, but he ignores it. You're going to be okay. He doesn't know if that's true. Her leg is definitely broken. She's been exposed to deadly cold for who knows how long. But he says it anyway because sometimes lies are the only comfort available. He lifts her into his arms. She's heavier than Helen but still light. Too light for a grown woman. Malnutrition maybe. Or just the hard reality of someone living alone in the wilderness. Miranda's head lolls against his shoulder. She murmurs something he doesn't catch. Getting back to the cabin is harder. His arms shake with effort. Snow makes every step treacherous. But giving up isn't an option, so he doesn't. Helen's face appears in the cabin window as he approaches. Her expression transforms from terror to hope. Inside, Kong Min lays Miranda on the worn couch near the fireplace. Helen rushes over, trying to climb onto the couch. Mommy, wake up. She's alive, Helen. But she's very cold and very hurt. Working quickly, Kong Min builds a fire. The wood is damp, but he gets it going, nursing flames until real heat begins to fill the room. He wraps Miranda in every blanket he can find, then adds his own body heat, holding her close while Helen clings to both of them. This is not who Kong Min is. He gives orders from behind bulletproof glass. He makes decisions that destroy lives without losing sleep. Physical comfort isn't in his vocabulary. Yet here he sits on a stranger's couch, in a cabin that would fit inside his sole office, warming a dying woman with his own body while her daughter cries against his side. Miranda's breathing steadies. Color begins returning to her face. An hour passes. 2. Finally, her eyes open. Clearer this time. She focuses on Kong Min's face inches from hers, takes in the stranger holding her, the fire crackling, Helen asleep against his shoulder. Who? Her voice is barely a whisper. Someone who happened to find your daughter in the middle of the road. Understanding crosses her face. Horror. Guilt. Helen. Is fine. Cold, scared, but fine. Tears slipped down Miranda's cheeks. The shed collapsed. My leg. I couldn't get back. I know. You saved my life. Kong Min doesn't respond to that. What can he say? That he doesn't know why he did it? That every instinct told him to keep driving, but something about Helen's terrified face made that impossible? What's your name? Miranda asks. He hesitates. Names are power. Information is currency. In his world, you don't give either freely. But she's looking at him with eyes that have seen their own kind of hardship. And Helen is warm and safe against his side, and the storm outside is still raging. Kong Min. Recognition flickers across her face. Not of him specifically. She wouldn't know a Korean mafia boss hiding in Alaska. But of the accent, the foreignness, the sense that this man doesn't belong in her world any more than she belongs in his. Thank you, Kong Min. Simple words, but the weight behind them is enormous. He shifts carefully, trying not to wake Helen. Your leg needs medical attention. When the storm clears, there's no hospital close enough. I'll splint it myself. You can't. I've done it before. There's steel in her voice despite its weakness. This is a woman who learned to survive alone, who raised a daughter in isolation, who kept going when most people would have broken. Kong Min sees strength he didn't expect. Military precision in how she catalogs her own injuries, assesses options, makes decisions. Your husband? He asks, noting the empty cabin, the absence of a second adult. Killed in action. Afghanistan. 3 years ago. The words are flat, emotionless. The kind of tone people use when they've said something so many times it stops hurting. He left me this place. His family's old hunting cabin. I thought. She laughs bitterly. I thought it would be peaceful. A fresh start for Helen away from the city. It's remote. It's too remote. But I can't afford anywhere else. Honesty. Raw and unfiltered. Kong Min understands scarcity. Not personally. Money stopped being an issue for him 20 years ago. But he understands what it does to people. How it shapes choices, limits options, creates desperation. The splint, he says. Tell me what you need. Miranda walks him through it. He follows her instructions exactly, binding her broken leg with boards from the collapsed woodshed and strips torn from spare sheets. His hands are steady, gentle despite their size. Helen wakes during the process and climbs back onto the couch, tucking herself against her mother's side. Mommy, I was so scared. I know, baby. I'm so sorry. Miranda strokes her daughter's hair, eyes closed against pain or emotion or both. The storm intensifies outside. Snow piles against windows. Wind screams around the cabin's corners. They're trapped here. All 3 of them. Kong Min should be concerned about that. His lodge is miles away. His people might be looking for him. Every hour he spends in this cabin is an hour his enemies could be closing in. But when Helen looks up at him with those big, trusting eyes and asks if he's hungry, something in his chest shifts in a way that has nothing to do with strategy or survival. What do you have? Helen's face lights up. She scrambles off the couch and runs to the tiny kitchen area. We have soup. And crackers. Mommy lets me help cook sometimes. She's so excited to have someone to share with. So eager to offer what little they have. Miranda watches from the couch, her expression unreadable. Kong Min finds himself sitting at the wooden table while Helen carefully heats soup on the propane stove. She chatters about everything. Her favorite books, the squirrel she saw yesterday, how she's learning to read big words. Normal childhood things. Things that have no place in Kong Min's world. Yet they fill the cabin with warmth that has nothing to do with the fire. They eat together. Simple food, but Helen is so proud of it that Kong Min tells her it's delicious. Which isn't entirely a lie. There's something about soup in a snowstorm that hits different. After dinner, Helen brings out a shoebox full of paper and child-safe scissors. Do you know how to make snowflakes? Kong Min stares at the supplies like they're a foreign weapon. No, I can teach you. And somehow, impossibly, Kong Min finds himself sitting cross-legged on the cabin floor while a 6-year-old shows him how to fold paper and cut shapes. Helen's instructions are very serious, very detailed. When he makes his first snowflake and unfolds it, she claps with pure delight. It's beautiful. You're really good at this. From the couch, Miranda watches. Her face is pale from pain, but something soft moves across her features as she observes this dangerous stranger. And she can tell he's dangerous, even if she doesn't know the specifics, sitting patiently while her daughter directs his scissors. More, Helen demands. We need lots for decoration. They make 17 snowflakes. Helen hangs them around the cabin with tape, creating a paper blizzard indoors. She stands back to admire their work, hands on hips, utterly satisfied. Now it's pretty, she announces. Kong Min realizes he hasn't thought about soul, about betrayal, about the violence waiting for him outside this small circle of warmth for hours. That should terrify him. Instead, it feels like breathing. Night deepens. The storm shows no signs of stopping. Helen eventually crashes, curled up in her small bed in the cabin's only separate room. Miranda's eyes grow heavy with exhaustion and pain medication from her limited first aid supplies. Kong Min keeps the fire going. He sits in the old armchair across from the couch, watching Miranda sleep, listening to the storm rage outside. This isn't his life. These aren't his people. This cabin, this woman, this child. They exist in a completely different universe from his. Yet sitting here feels more real than anything has in years. When dawn finally breaks, the storm has passed. Sunlight glitters off fresh snow, transforming the landscape into something out of a fairy tale. Kong Min stands, stretches muscles stiff from the chair. It's time to leave. Return to his lodge, to his plans, to the reality of who he is and what's hunting him. He moves quietly, not wanting to wake Miranda or Helen. He'll leave them supplied. Make sure they have enough to last until Miranda can arrange proper medical care. At the door, he pauses. On the mantel sits a small wooden carving, a wolf, beautifully detailed. Miranda's late husband's work, probably. Something personal, precious. Kong Min reaches for it, then stops. Taking it would be wrong. He leaves without waking them. Trudges through knee-deep snow to his SUV. The engine turns over reluctantly, cold-soaked but functional. Helen appears on the porch as he's about to drive away, still in her pajamas, bare feet in the snow. You're leaving. Kong Min's chest tightens. I have to. But, will you come back? He doesn't answer. Can't answer. Instead, he raises one hand in a wave that feels inadequate, then turns the SUV toward the main road. In his rearview mirror, Helen stands on the porch. Small. Alone. Waving. The image burns into his memory. He makes it a quarter mile before he has to stop the car. His hands shake on the steering wheel. Not from cold. From something else. Something he hasn't felt since he was young enough to still believe in good things. Regret. Walking away from that cabin feels wrong in a way that bypasses logic. Helen's face. Miranda's gratitude. The paper snowflakes dancing in firelight. It was only one night, but it cracked something open inside him that he thought was sealed forever. Why does leaving feel like losing something irreplaceable? His phone buzzes. Text from his second-in-command. We found them. They're coming for you, boss. And anyone you've been around. Kong Min's blood turns to ice. They know he's in Alaska, which means they have his location narrowed down to a 100-mile radius. Which means they'll search every structure, question every person, leave no witnesses. Anyone you've been around. His mind immediately conjures images of Miranda and Helen. The cabin isolated, defenseless. A woman with a broken leg and a 6-year-old child. Easy targets. Kong Min's enemies don't take prisoners. They send messages written in blood. No. The word comes out strangled. He slams the SUV into reverse, tires spinning on ice. He should be driving the other direction, away from danger, toward survival. Every tactical bone in his body screams that going back is suicide. But Helen's face floats before him. Her trust, her innocence. He led danger to their doorstep. Spent an entire night in that cabin. Left his scent everywhere. Created a connection his enemies will exploit without hesitation. This is his fault. The SUV fishtails as he races back up the logging road. Trees blur past. His phone rings, his second-in-command calling, probably to warn him further, give him escape routes. Kong Min ignores it. The cabin comes into view. Smoke rises from the chimney. Everything looks peaceful, safe, normal. But normal is a lie. Normal doesn't account for the men who are coming, the violence they bring, the fact that mercy isn't in their vocabulary. He parks sideways across the approach, a barrier more symbolic than practical. As he reaches the porch, the door opens. Miranda stands there, leaning on a makeshift crutch, confusion and something else. Hope, maybe, crossing her face. You came back. I shouldn't have left. His voice is rough with emotions he doesn't have names for. I need to tell you something. Helen appears behind her mother, face lighting up. Kong Min. He crouches down as she rushes to him, catches her in his arms. For a moment, he just holds her, this tiny human who somehow became important. Then he looks at Miranda over Helen's head. There are people looking for me. Dangerous people. By staying in your cabin last night, I may have put you in danger. Miranda's expression shifts, not to fear, but to understanding. Military wife. She knows what danger means, what threats look like. How dangerous. The kind that doesn't leave survivors. A long pause. Helen pulls back, looking between the adults, sensing tension she doesn't understand. Miranda's jaw sets. Then what do we do? Not get away from us. Not, you brought this on yourself. We. Kong Min realizes she's offering him something he didn't know he needed. Partnership. Alliance. A chance to fix the damage he caused. I don't know yet, he admits. But I won't let them hurt you. Either of you. It's a promise that might cost him everything. Miranda nods once. Then we figure it out. Together. She reaches out, takes his hand. Her grip is strong despite everything. Helen wraps her small arms around both of them, creating a knot of three people who shouldn't fit together, but somehow do. Outside, snow begins to fall again. Soft. Quiet. Beautiful. Inside the cabin, Kong Min feels something he thought was dead. Purpose that isn't about power or survival or revenge. It's about protecting what matters. He doesn't know if they can win against what's coming. His enemies are ruthless, well-funded, and motivated by betrayal. The odds are terrible. But as he looks at Miranda's determined face and Helen's trusting eyes, Kong Min makes a decision. Some things are worth fighting for. Some things are worth dying for. And maybe, just maybe, some things are worth becoming someone different for. The storm is coming, but they'll face it together.